Good morning, everyone. I'm Nicole from the Institute of Banking and Finance, and I'm delighted that you're able to join us today to find out more about the Technology in Finance Immersion Programme, also known as TFIP. We have an exciting session today. You'll learn more about the program, hear from participating financial institutions who will share more about training and what they'll be looking out for, and also hear from previous TFIP trainees. To start off today's session, I would like to invite Mr. Ng Nam Sin, CEO of IBF, to begin the session with a few words. Nam Sin, please.
A very good morning to everyone. Thank you for taking the time to attend this session. I noticed there are close to 800 participants today at this session, so very good turnout. So our TFIP journey started in 2019. TFIP stands for Technology in Finance Immersion Programme. And this is done in partnership with the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the MAS, Workforce Singapore, WSG, and the Infocom Media Development Authority, IMDA. The whole purpose for launching TFIP is to grow a strong local tech talent pipeline. And why are we doing this? Many of you probably know that the acceleration in digital transformation in the financial sector has led to greater hiring demands for expertise in technology. The recent Employment Outlook survey conducted by the MAS and IBF showed that the demand for tech talent remains high. In fact, it is one of the highest. So TFIP is an attach and train program to convert mid-career individuals without tech experience into technology specialists. So it's a very unique program. We are taking someone who doesn't have tech experience and to convert the person into a technology specialist. Successful candidates will be given the opportunity to attend structured training, an important component of the program, before being attached to hosting financial institutions to do on-the-job training. TFIP has expanded over the past 3 years, and to date, close to 600 mid-career individuals have benefited from the program. 90% of the inaugural batch of trainees have also been successfully placed in tech-related roles upon completion of their program. So for this year, we are offering a total of 8 technology areas. They include Agile IT project management, data analytics, software engineering, technology information, and cybersecurity risk. These are all in-demand areas within the financial services sector, with software engineering seeing the strongest industry demand. So we continue to see strong interest in the program, with the number of applications growing each year. And to meet the demand, we have increased the number of TFIP places to 700 this year, which is twice the intake number from last year. And these places came from over 60 participating financial institutions. So what kind of candidates are we looking for? So we're looking for candidates who have a passion for working with technology and applying them in financial services. You need not have IT background, but an aptitude to pick up IT skills quickly. Preferably, you should have a STEM background. The training is going to be rigorous, and some programs can be very technical in nature, for instance, software engineering. The duration of the program is either 12 or 18 months, depending on the specializations. Thus, you need to have the stamina and be committed to the program, as you will be investing 1 year or more of your time in this endeavor. The program is so curated such that upon completion, successful candidates are highly employable. In fact, many of our candidates were offered jobs before completion of their program. TFIP is funded by government agencies, including IBF, MAS, and WSG, and our participating financial institutions. We took pains to curate the program, and as the investments in the trainee is substantial, we expect candidates to be fully committed to the program and their hosting financial institutions. So for this TFIP run, we have expanded the qualifying criteria to attract more candidates. We now invite candidates who may not have STEM qualifications, but have STEM experience or relevant certifications to apply. So for example, you could be a business or finance graduate and is good in statistics. You could be a candidate for the data analytics track. Or you may not have STEM background, but is proficient in coding as a hobby. You may be suitable for the software engineering or cybersecurity tracks. So we also hope to see more diversity of applicants. We want to reach out to more polytechnic graduates who currently form a smaller proportion of our applicants. We also hope to see more women participating in TFIP. So while making a mid-career transition in tech is not easy, especially if you don't have tech background, the outcomes can be very fulfilling. The goals are achievable for someone who has passion in the tech arena. So take, for example, Polytechnic graduates Mohammad Haziq from the TFIP 2019 batch, who started off as a cybersecurity trainee. He was eventually offered a full-time role with the hosting financial institution Citibank. Before TFIP, he was an engineer, and today he's handling IT infrastructure defense. Another example is Glenn Chan, a cloud computing trainee. He was a freelance web designer, and today he's an assistant manager at OCBC, handling cloud service automation. So more profiles and experiences will be featured in the TFIP launch video after this. So we hope that many of you here today will take advantage of TFIP to embark on an exciting career in the technology sector. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the session.
Thank you, Namsin. We will now take you through a short video to introduce TFIP. My colleague Fiona will then take you through the program and its requirements. If you have any questions about the program, you may click the Q&A tab below to share your question.
If you want to start a career in technology without prior experience, TFIP offers the best opportunities.
We have been preparing our workforce and our future generations to equip them with in-demand skills as well as future-ready capabilities so that they can compete strongly. We have launched career conversion programs to reskill mid-career professionals into hiring roles where there are skills gaps. One example is the Technology in Finance Immersion Programme. This equips mid-career professionals with skills to take on tech jobs and expand our local tech talent pool.
The development of tech talent is a key priority at UOB through IBF's Technology in Finance Immersion Programme, or TFIP. We have provided 67 individuals with on-the-job training across various tech roles at UOB. We are committed to partnering IBF in TFIP 2022 and look forward to a new intake of passionate individuals who are keen to pursue a career in banking and technology.
Through TFIP's on-the-job training component, I was able to gain valuable work experience at UBS for a career in technology, receive mentoring from an industry veteran, and build new and meaningful connections with industry professionals.
Over the past 3 years, UBS has worked with IBF through TFIP to prepare 139 individuals for an exciting career in technology. We are delighted to continue our partnership with IBF on this program this year, and especially excited about the expanded eligibility for this year's intake, which will allow more Singaporeans to pursue a career pivot into the exciting world of technology.
Thanks to TFIP, I was able to make a career switch into a tech role. If you are really passionate about a career in technology and are keen to learn, I strongly encourage you to apply for TFIP 2022.
Hello everyone, welcome to this short information session on the upcoming Technology in Finance Immersion Programme, or TFIP for short. Applications were launched in May 2022 and will close on 18 June 2022. This video will cover the following: program overview and objectives, prerequisites and key eligibility criteria of applicants, program duration and training allowance, TFIP 2022 program milestones and timeline, key points of training engagement. TFIP is an Attach and Train program funded and supported by Workforce Singapore, WSG, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, MAS, and the Infocom Media Development Authority, IMDA. It is designed to provide mid-career individuals without the relevant technology experience with the opportunity to gain access to technology jobs that are in demand within the financial sector. Trainees will be put through industry-curated structured training with our partnering training providers. Upon completion of structured training, trainees will be attached to financial institutions to gain industry experience. This year, we have more than 60 financial institutions hosting trainees across 8 training areas. The 8 areas of training include Agile IT Project Management, Artificial Intelligence, Business Analysis, Cloud Computing, Cybersecurity, Data Analytics, Software Engineering, and a new area, Technology, Information, and Cybersecurity Risk. IBF will be the program manager administering and implementing this program. To qualify for this program, applicants should possess the following prerequisites. Firstly, the program is only applicable to Singaporean citizens and permanent residents. Secondly, applicants must have either graduated from school or completed national service for at least 2 years, whichever is later. In short, male applicants will need to complete their national service obligations, if any, before applying. Applicants must not have had prior working experience in any of the 8 training areas, namely Agile IT Project Management, Artificial Intelligence, Business Analysis, Cloud Computing, Cybersecurity, Data Analytics, Software Engineering, and Technology, Information, and Cybersecurity Risk. Applicants that had previously participated in other government programs will only be eligible if you had completed all outstanding obligations as of application closing date. And the area of training that you have applied to is different from that of the previous sponsorship under the other government programs. For technical prerequisites, for the 5 training areas in Artificial Intelligence, Cloud Computing, Cybersecurity, Software Engineering, Technology, Information, and Cybersecurity Risk, applicants will need to possess a qualification, either diploma or degree, or experience in science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, or STEM in short, or have completed STEM-related courses or certifications. For data analytics, our technical prerequisite is broader, where we only require qualifications, diploma or degree, or experience in quantitative fields such as finance, accountancy, economics, statistics. Applicants with STEM qualifications will also be eligible to apply. For business analysis, we are looking for applicants with a qualification or experience in STEM at a diploma or degree level. Applicants without STEM but have prior working experience in the financial services industry will be eligible as well. For Agile IT Project Management, applicants with a qualification, a diploma or degree, in any background or sector will be considered. These prerequisites were developed together with the training providers and financial institutions to ensure the best success rate of trainees in this program. Next, I will talk about the structure of the program. The whole program is conducted full-time over 18 months for the Artificial Intelligence, Cloud Computing, Cybersecurity, Software Engineering, Data Analytics, and Technology, Information, and Cybersecurity Risk training areas. The remaining areas in Business Analysis and Agile IT Project Management will be conducted over 12 months. Do note that this is a full-time program, and hence, should you be offered a training place, you will be required to resign from your existing job, if any, and serve out your notice period before training commencement. The phases of training are conducted sequentially. Once the trainees successfully complete the structured training, they will be deployed to their hosting financial institution for the remaining of the 18 or 12 months for on-the-job training, or OJT in short. For the duration of OJT, a mentor will be assigned to the trainees to provide guidance and advice. To ensure that trainees undertake meaningful assignments and projects with the hosting financial institutions, an OJT checklist, which spells out the competencies that trainees must acquire by the end of the program, will be made available to trainees and mentors. This will provide a guide for hosting financial institutions to structure their OJT for trainees and for trainees to take ownership of their training progress. During the program, you will receive $5,500 per month as training allowance for the areas of artificial intelligence, cloud computing, cybersecurity, software engineering, data analytics, and the technology, information, and cybersecurity risk areas. For business analysis and agile IT project management, the training allowance will be at $4,500 per month. This training allowance will be paid monthly throughout the 18 or 12-month program. Do note that as trainees, you are not considered employees of IBF or the hosting financial institution. Therefore, the training allowance will not be eligible for CPF contribution. In addition, there is no obligation for the hosting financial institution to guarantee trainees a conversion to a permanent headcount at the end of the program. However, we expect that the 1 to 1.5 years of structured training and industry experience with the hosting financial institutions will put trainees in a good position to find employment. Moving forward, here are the key program milestones that applicants should note. The online applications for TFIP is already opened from May 2022 and will close on 18 June 2022. Please ensure that you submit your online applications before the deadline. From June 2022, applicants will undergo up to 3 levels of screening. The first level will be done by IBF to ensure that applicants meet all the prerequisites. Eligible applicants will be identified, and depending on which training area they applied for, they will have to complete a technical assessment administered by the respective training providers. The technical assessment aims to assess the technical aptitude of applicants to ensure that they are able to cope with the rigors of the training program. Once applicants pass the technical assessment, applicants will be referred to the participating companies for further selection and interviews from July 2022. Successful applicants will be informed of the outcomes from September onwards. Applicants who received offers will be required to indicate their acceptance of the offer, and IBF will finalize the offers and facilitate the formal signing of offers between the trainee and the financial institution, and between the trainee and IBF. Structured training is targeted to commence between November and December 2022, where trainees will join the respective training providers for structured training before joining the financial institutions. During the on-the-job training, IBF will continue to conduct regular check-ins to ensure that any concerns of the trainees are addressed. Next, I will be taking you through some key points of this training engagement. At the same time, this will also serve as a recap of the points that I have mentioned earlier. There are 8 training areas for this intake of TFIP. Applicants who are interested in more than one training area can submit an application indicating up to 2 training areas that they are interested in. Applications for each track will be evaluated independently. Applicants can indicate their top 3 preferred participating companies, but IBF will share eligible applicants with all participating companies. Interviews are likely to commence in July 2022, and shortlisted applicants will be notified after passing the technical assessments. If an applicant receives more than one training offer, he or she can decide which offer to accept. An applicant can only be enrolled into one training area with one hosting financial institution. This is a full-time traineeship program, and trainees are bounded by a trainee agreement or company agreement. This does not constitute an employer-employee relationship. Throughout the program, trainees will receive a monthly training allowance of $5,500 or $4,500 depending on the training area. The training allowance will not be eligible for any CPF contribution. To recap, trainees will receive $5,500 per month as training allowance for the areas of artificial intelligence, cloud computing, cybersecurity, data analytics, software engineering, and technology, information, and cybersecurity risk. For the remaining areas of business analysis and agile IT project management, the allowance will be at $4,500 per month. As part of the trainee agreement, trainees will be entitled to 21 days of annual leave and 30 days of medical leave. At the end of the program, trainees are not guaranteed a job placement, as this depends on many factors, including a trainee's performance during his or her OJT. Trainees may withdraw from the program by giving 1 month written notice with valid reasons to IBF and the host company. Trainees are expected to be treated like a regular employee, and the working hours will be aligned to the operational needs of the deployment. Here is a recap of the program duration. For artificial intelligence, cloud computing, cybersecurity, software engineering, data analytics, and technology, information, and cybersecurity risk, the program will be 18 months, while business analysis and agile IT project management are 12-month programs. The 18 or 12-month program duration will comprise of structured training and on-the-job training. This is a full-time program, and applicants are expected to commit to the structured training and on-the-job training via attachment with a financial institution. The cost of structured training will be borne by host financial institutions and prevailing government subsidies. Therefore, trainees are not required to bear any of the course fees. However, if trainees are unsuccessful in the assessments during their structured training, they will need to bear the cost of reassessment if applicable. At the end of the structured training, trainees will be awarded certificates by their respective training providers. Some of the programs will also prepare trainees for industry certifications, and trainees can obtain these certifications as part of or after their course. To find out more about TFIP, you can scan the QR code on your screen to be redirected to the IBF TFIP page. This page will be consistently updated to provide the latest information and program status. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fiona. Now let's hear from the senior representatives from the participating banks who will share more insights on the job roles, training, and profiles they'll be looking out for. We have with us today Catherine Dunn, Executive Director, Strategic Market Infrastructure at JP Morgan, Geraldine Wong, Chief Data Officer at Grab, Pauline T, Executive Director, Governance and Portfolio Management at Standard Chartered Bank, Josephine Chu, Senior Vice President, Group Banking Technology at UOB, and Karen Koh, Senior Manager, Technology Risk Governance at Prudential. Yan Wei from IBF will be leading this session. Yan Wei, over to you.
Thanks, Nicole. Very good morning to everyone and a warm welcome to all our panelists. Thanks for joining us. My name is Yan Wei and I'll be moderating this session. So let's give our panelists some time to turn on their cameras. Okay, hi everyone. Right, with me on the panel, with me on the panel today are business leaders representing 5 out of the 62 financial institutions that are participating as host companies in TFIP 2022. So each of them will be sharing about different tech areas that are offered under TFIP this year. Apart from their technical expertise, most of our panelists have also had the experience of mentoring TFIP trainees from previous cohorts or had supported mid-careerists in their career transition at some point. And interestingly, a few of our panelists were also mid-career switchers themselves before ending up in the role that they are in today. So I'm sure we'll have a lot to learn from them. So we welcome any questions that you may have for the panelists. You may post them using the Q&A function found at the bottom of your Zoom interface, and we'll try our best to address them during the course of our chat. All right, so with that, to kick off this conversation, I'd like to first invite each of our panelists, starting with Pauline, to give us a quick introduction of yourselves and share with us your own career journey and how you arrived at where you are today. So over to you, Pauline.
Thank you. Thanks, Yan Wei. So I'm Pauline. I have over 27 years of working experience in banking industry itself. Interesting, I started my career as a programmer. So I take a computer science graduate, and then I started my career as a programmer doing COBOL programming. You can imagine, you can sort of thought how old I am, because COBOL is a very, very old language. And over the time, I moved from programming into software design, and because I'm from the vendor environment where I do a lot of consulting to banks, I moved into business consulting and project management. And from there, I get exposed to business, and then I move myself into business, and now I'm on to risk management. So So I think sometimes you don't need to think about career exchange as a very difficult thing. So you just go along the way and you find a way. So over the 27 years, I've accumulated sound experience in at least 14 years in project management, software delivery, as well as system design, and at least 10 years on risk management and data governance. Currently, I'm the executive director of governance as well as portfolio management for our global data and digital utilities platform. Over to you, Yan-Wei. Thank you.
Thanks, Pauline. So next, may we invite Geraldine to share, to introduce herself.
Hey, hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks a lot, Yan-Wei, for the introduction as well. Yeah, I think I came from a really very different background to many of you here. I did my PhD in statistics and research, in fact, climate change at that time. So really a 180 degrees pivot to industry, and I'm starting my career as a data scientist in a startup first, and then before moving on to exploring the world in consulting. So getting exposure of many different industries and how they apply data science, analytics, AI, etc. Before deciding to make the move again to in-house. And just so everyone knows, I'm the Chief Data Officer at GXS, which is a separate entity from Grab and Singtel, even though our parent company is both Grab and Singtel. So we are the digital bank that were awarded the license MES a couple of, 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago now. But yeah, very happy to be here and hope to take a few questions from the floor as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Geraldine. So Geraldine is representing our digital banks today. So if you have any questions about fintechs, digital banks, I think you can direct them to her. Next, let's invite Catherine.
Hello. So I have, again, a very different background from my other two colleagues. I actually started off life as a hairdresser. Before an accident actually ended my hairdressing career, I moved into secretarial work at Barclays Bank as it was, and then I took advantage of an internal program to do training. From that point on, I went back to university at 26 to get a degree in managing business information technology, and then moved into consulting before actually going to work at JP Morgan. So my life has changed very, very differently from my beginnings. I've been with JP Morgan for 25 years. I've done many different jobs there in London, Hong Kong, and now Singapore. So I've done project management, I've done business analysis. I now run a very technical team that looks after market data for the whole of JP Morgan. And we also have a lot of non-technical jobs in there with the management and everything. You know, I'm really excited to be here. And, you know, the reason I'm here is because someone gave me a chance once upon a time to do something new. And, you know, we all bring a lot of different experiences, and, you know, hiring from different industries and everything has enriched our company so much. And I've heard such good things about this program. This is why I'm here. So nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Very inspiring, your career speech. So next, let us invite Josephine. Josephine, over to you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Josephine. Yeah, I'm actually the head of regional developments for local and cross-border payment applications in UOB. So I have more than 20 years of experience in these software developments and project deliveries. Actually, I share quite the same experience as what Pauline has. She deals with the COBOL. I also deal with COBOL in my early days of my career here. So actually, I also started off as a programmer or code developers in a software house. Then I ventured into all sorts of software developments or software engineering, such as system analysts that deals with designs and documentations, testings, project developments, and maintenance. Then I become a team lead that is managing a small team for project deliveries related to trade finance and remittance in Singapore. But as the bank actually expanded to be a regional bank, my portfolio also expanded. So I work for more than 20 countries, implementing hundreds of projects into these domains, and also venture into other domains such as rates, factoring, SWIFT services, and relationship pricing. So now I'm the development head of payments, leading a group of more than 40 people in the regions. I'm happy to be here to share my experience and to attract mid-career candidates that are interested in software engineering. Thank you.
Thanks, Josephine. Okay, last but not least, we have Karen. Over to you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Karen. So it's a surprise that you will know me by starting my degree with statistics, eventually moved to tech risk. Okay, 13 years working experience in insurance. I'm a senior manager of technology risk with Prudential. So we are not born to be an expert in tech risk. Okay, I started my journey with insurance operation, doing customer service, claims, and after a few years, I think that IT is an interesting space. Then I moved on with a business analyst role. After a while, when my portfolio keep getting bigger and bigger, I start to think about project management, being a project manager. And when the Agile coming to my company, I step on to take on the Scrum Master role in the company. And then with opportunity, I get into tech risk space. And you can see all of us are doing our own self-TFIP. Okay, not just you, it's every one of us. We are like to change, getting new things into our journey of career. Okay, back to you, Jian-Wei.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, it's really interesting that all of you actually have gone through your own career conversion throughout your journeys, your career journeys. So yeah, thanks very much for the introduction. I just wanted to also share, MD of MAS, Mr. Ravi Menon, mentioned in his opening remarks at the Singapore Financial Forum in May this year that it is estimated that there will be more than 3,000 technology jobs created in the financial sector in 2022 alone. And the areas that we've rolled out in TFIP 2022 actually quite aligned to this survey results that we've received in terms of the Employment Outlook survey. So with the growth prospects of these tech roles within the financial sector, I'm sure the audience would love to hear from you some of the exciting developments within the financial sector and the opportunities that are available for them. So we'll start with Pauline again. You will be talking about Agile IT project management, and I understand you've led many transformation projects because of your career. So just wanted to, perhaps you could share whether, is Agile IT project management something that's quite prevalent in project management today within the financial sector, or what are some of the developments or trends with regards to project management that you'd like to share with the audience? Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Yan-Wei. Yeah, especially I was started off as the conventional project management in the past, and then I can see how the corporate roles have changed. I think largely is driven by, just so that the other understand why there's need of agile. Agile started was mainly for technical team, because if you know, I think all of you have in the company, it's very, very painful when we waited for the Microsoft release, or even like we have big vendor who supply big major system mainframe, and it's very, very painful every time we request for change, and it takes forever for them to release the change to us, and we have to suffer. So because of all that, they came up with the agile philosophy or agile principle to say that the client can't wait that long. The market cannot wait that long. If we want to continue to survive in the industry, we have to release things faster. So agile is all about breaking a very complex problem down to a small bite-sized issues, and so that we can release that faster. And not only that, because I think you all have experience as well, especially after COVID. COVID has literally just accelerated the adoption of digital in the highest speeds that we never experienced. And although COVID is sort of now our BAU now, but the change speed has not stopped. You can experience that. And because of that, the other issues about, other than the complexity I talk about on the not able to release new changes faster, it is the change is happening too fast. So while you're just talking about business requirement, and then you go and ideate, you go and ask for budget, you go and plan. By the time you want to start doing, you know what? The idea no longer valid anymore. It's no longer relevant. So that's also one of the reasons Agile principle came about. It's like you have to stay relevant. So you don't wait until you plan in your own mind what is a perfect solution. You have to keep checking in with your customer, or customer could be internal customer or external customer, to make sure that your ideas stay relevant to what is meaningful to them. So a lot of organization has started the agile transformation, and it's not a journey that you can just jump in overnight. And you will find that a lot of Agile is homegrown because it really depending on the organization, the complexity, the client they serve, the product nature, etc. So for StanChart alone, we have started this journey quite far back. Similarly, we started with our tech team. Now the entire organization is Agile. And for having said that, it doesn't mean that if you have among the participants here, if you have come from the conventional project management like me, doesn't mean that you're going to throw it away. It is still relevant. It is mainly more used for a complex project, for example, a regulatory project that you need to deliver. A very, very big project and it's not overnight you can deliver. We still need that expertise because Agile doesn't work on that way. Scrum doesn't work in that. Scrum is more for small problem, big problem that you can break down to small and there's a lot of uncertainties. You do not know how to get to the end state. That's where Agile comes in. So that you will find that a lot of organizations, small organizations usually transform. Large organizations it take a long time. It takes us a few years, but now we're fully Agile. In terms of career opportunity for IT project, so Agile IT project managers or Agile project management, there's tons. Don't just look at it as must be project specific. It may not has to be, because the Agile principle can apply for many things. If you're thinking about getting into IT Agile project management, I do encourage you to start expose yourself into the Scrum principle, into Agiles, and practice it with, even if you currently have Agile, practices in there. So for example, in StanChart, all our projects are running on Agile ceremony. We have big major projects that we need to rely on the conventional project management, but how we determine our investment, how we determine what are the solutions we want to push is all through the Agile ceremony, including on the business side when they want to come up with ideation, when they want to come up with the idea before they propose to our so-called our Agile governance, and then prioritize the requirement into the investment. They also use the Agile principle. So there's a lot of role. We have all the different role. If you're familiar yourself with Scrum, all the role that we have, product owners, Scrum masters, developers, and all that, we have it in the bank. We also have Agile coaches. We also have design thinkers, etc. So these are all the relevant roles. So if you're interested to get into this space, do get yourself familiar with what does it mean. Pauline mentioned about all this role. What does it mean? Just go and Google Scrum. You have lots of video to teach you. I'm just gonna pause here, Yan Wei.
Thanks, Pauline. I like your point, about how change is so fast, and some of the projects that you handle is really a lot more agile, right? To actually use this agile methodology. So just thinking, for someone who is thinking about pivoting into this role, what would you say are some of the attributes that they should possess, in order to, or what are some of the critical skills? You mentioned a few roles, right? Possible roles within this segment.
Yeah, I'll come from two space. So for people like me who have prior project management experience, now whether you find it easy to hop onto these new ways of working or Agile principle, it really depending on how open you are. Because some of the things, it may become, because of your experience, your many years of experience in project management in the old way, I shouldn't use the word old way, in conventional, a waterfall way, it may hinder yourself into the Agile way. Because if you're very strict on, I must have proper documentation, not saying documentation is not important in Agile, it is, but it's just, we are more succinct. So you have to be someone who is open-minded, literally like put everything aside, put in the box. I'm not looking at it for now. I'm learning the new way. So be open. And then when you see something that is relevant to your past experience, go back to the box, bring it out and apply it. Right? That's for people who has prior project management experience. If everything you do, you come with a lens to say, I'm going to compare with my old project management. I'm going to compare, then you're not going to learn new things. Okay, you don't do that because you already judge the process before you give it a chance. So when I run agile training, I always get all my participants to say, I put a box in the middle of the room. I say, everyone, please list out what are the, project management skills at Lean Six Sigma, all those skills that write it down. So I get them to write down in a post-it note and put it into the box. And I honor that box. I said, these are very variable experience, very variable skill set. But for today, I'm going to teach you something new. I'm going to close this box. I'm going to put it in the back of the room. It's variable. We're just going to put it aside. And I want you to open your mind to learn something new. Now, for people who are new to this, congratulations in a way, because it's easier for you to get in because you have no comparison. But as you learn, I think it's easy for you because Scrum actually a lot of it's principle based, and that's what we call principle. And it's not concise to specific. If you're looking for scripts, it's not like that. It's a set of principle, but then we have playbooks. So I think the key thing is you have to be open-minded. You should be somebody who is diligent, somebody who don't mind getting into the details, because a lot of time we do need to get into details. And then you need to be agile, as in give yourself that room that when I need to pull you up 1,000 feet high to look at the horizon, you do that. When you need to go into the details, you need to do that. So you need to be somebody who is quite flexible to adapt and be willing to fail. And that comes with your sense of security, because in Agile, we encourage fail fast. So you'll be very interesting, because when I do this training, a lot of people say, oh, interesting. In the past, when we fail, we got all these potential impact assessment, looking who forces it. But you're asking me to fail and fail fast, and you encourage you celebrate the failure. So to them, it's like, oh, this is total new concept. Yes, we want you to fail fast, because if you roll out the product and then you fail, the impact is much bigger. So we want to fail fast before we go out the door. We already know what's went wrong and we fix it. So that's the other things that you need to be able to have, that strong confidence, strong sense of self security to accept that failure, to accept constructive feedback. I'll take a pause there.
Yeah,
very long answer. Sorry.
No, but it's I think it's very insightful for the audience. So next, we'll move on to Geraldine. So as the Chief Data Officer of GXS, you're responsible for driving your digital bank's data strategy and to reimagine the way customers engage and experience the digital economy. So I think it'll be interesting to hear from you. What are some of the opportunities and prospects of artificial intelligence and data analytics within the financial sector, specifically coming from a digital bank?
Hey, so maybe I'll just give a broad introduction of the scope that I cover as well, and then speak about how it relates to the consumers and what's new in there, as well as the career opportunities that are available as well. So my scope really covers the data governance and management of how data comes in, how we define the data, how the data runs through the system. You are able to track the quality of the data. Now, why is that so important? I'll come to the next point later on, because it's related to how you use the data for analytics, for modeling, for AI. Now, if you we all know this common saying, garbage in, garbage out. So if you really want to have good models, good insights, and actionable insights coming out from there, you really need to ensure that there is good governance and management. Then the second point that I'll come to, which is the other scope that I also cover, is data protection and privacy. I think it's also important right now as a digital bank, right? We really need to foster that trust. We need to build up the confidence in the bank as well. And how so if everything is digitally done? And that's where data protection comes in. And you would think that, oh, data protection is probably just how consent is just collected. But I think it's more than that. And as we move into how data is being collected so digitally, you need to have the assurance that it is collected, how your PII data or your personal data is being managed, how your PII data is being used for the different purposes as well. Of course, as consumer, you go there, you have your app, you just take next. You don't really look at the T's and C's, but essentially that's what the entire data protection function actually do in fostering that trust. Then I'll come to the last part, which is essentially the AI, and where every of this, the first two points that I was talking about actually culminates into using the data for actionable insights, for analytics, for AI. And I think the one of the key developments that we have seen, especially with COVID, is that people have moved towards digital. Everyone knows that. But now the forms of data that we are collecting is so very different. The avenues that we are collecting the data is vast as well. There's various touch points and platforms that we are collecting it. And therefore the volume of data has grown. And how are we using then this data, or how are we being intentional in collecting this data and also embedding each of the analytics into every step that the customer enjoys with us in this journey, so that each of the customers is able to enjoy this seamless, holistic experience with us? And how are we going to engage with them as well? How are we going to grow that relationship? And the last point, I think Karen will be very proud to hear this, the stronger risk management that we have to build as a bank as well. We all know that. Another point that I want to also bring up is how these days we are also leveraging alternative data, and more so with in our ecosystem where we have Grab and Singtel, how are we leveraging this data to better serve our customers? And in many other companies, they are also exploring this opportunity as well. The third point I want to cover, which is a developmental area, is also about ethical and responsible AI. It's sort of an art and a science to it. I would say it's a philosophical question as to how do you use data to benefit the customer and not discriminate them intentionally. And I think there's a lot of research papers out there. There's a lot of guidelines that has come out on this, but yet standards are still being crafted at the moment. And the next point I want to go into is the career opportunities available. So as I mentioned, there's a broad scope. You have data governance, management, protection, even the data analytics, AI. All of this are if you asked me 5 years ago whether data governance roles or management roles were that popular, I would say not really. And probably they're sitting somewhere, but it wasn't a role by itself. But now I see that increasingly being made available. The career opportunities lie in the ability to actually marry how you think from a consumer point of view, how you collect that data. You're working with the product teams to actually be intentional in collecting data. So being able to understand the domain, being able to understand where the data points are being collected from, how it's being used in each of the journey is really important. There's a lot of, for the lack of a better word, translators that is required in such roles as well. And of course, you have your hardcore like coders, your data scientists, your machine learning engineers that we often try to seek as well.
Thanks, Geraldine. So for myself, I tend to associate AI and data analytics with people who love number crunching or very structured, very logical. In fact, I think some of them may even need to have some coding skills. So are these skills or quantitative skills that can be taught, or are there any aptitude or something that one should possess before they consider a career in data analytics or AI?
Yeah, so I'll draw an example of a mid-career switch person in my previous organization. And this person had obviously a business and economics degree. But I think the person on the job actually tried to pick up things, dashboarding tools, analytics tools. I see a question here about what's the difference with business analytics and data analytics. And of course, to me, data analytics is a broader encompassing of business analytics. Business analytics is just one part of the coin in bringing actionable insights to the business. But data analytics is way broader. You have product analytics and how you even do experiments design. So your hypothesis testing about how different customer journeys perform differently to another customer journey, and you are testing out all of this. I mean, it is really statistics 101 when we talk about A/B testing and all that. And essentially, if a person even knows this kind of basic stuff and be able to do very basic, dashboarding or analytics skills, then I think they're pretty they have got it sorted as a foundation in itself.
Thanks, Geraldine. Thanks for sharing that. All right, next we will move on to Catherine. She'll be talking about business analysis. So we often hear that business analysts basically plays a role of a bridge, right, between the business and tech. So they have to be familiar with the business processes, the requirements, but at the same time be able to understand technology. So it almost sounds like an impossible role to fill, but yet we know of many people who have managed to, pivot into without STEM background even, being able to pivot into this role. So we'd like to hear from you, what are some of the developments that have led to the opportunities available within the financial sector for such roles, and what kind of qualities would you look for in a mid-careerist who is thinking of pivoting into this? This role?
Yeah, and it's not easy, and my two predecessors, I'm sitting there nodding because there's so many elements we will cross over. And when you're asking about what opportunities, JP Morgan, everyone knows JP Morgan is a huge global financial services firm. I think just to give you a little bit of idea that what we've got, Singapore is a hub. It's a hub. It's actually our main hub for Asia. And we cover most of the things that we're talking about: blockchain, cloud, cyber, big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence, robotics. Everything is available in Singapore. I think it was Pauline that mentioned about COVID and how that's changed the world. Again, with remote working and things like that, people are now seeing the ability with a global bank that more can be done within the regional hubs and everything as well. So again, that's opened up a lot more opportunities for all of us here now in Asia. JP Morgan, we currently spend about 12 billion on technology. Next year, we're estimating we're going to spend 14 billion. So again, we're known as a bank, but it's a great tech company. And the reason I'm sort of giving you some of this background is because what can you do with business analysts? We have a lot of business analysts in my team, and they've branched off and had very many different careers. They started off actually helping the business procure market data. What market data do they need? Working with the vendors, looking at how people are using the information, what the business problem is and translating it so the developers, the vendors, or in some cases know how to, what we need in the future. And ultimately, what I find with everybody that comes in, usually we call it a job family in JP Morgan. You come in on a business analyst job family. People tend to sort of veer off in very many different directions. So, for example, some people that like the financial aptitude more, they sort of move over into sort of finance and business management role. They're sort of leaning over there. I've had people join me who were servicing commodities department, for example. They actually ended up moving into commodities and actually going into trading on that because they got to know the business so well and found it so interesting. They moved completely over. We've had people move to a more tech role. That's how I myself started. I came in doing Y2K and the European currency, which again sort of gives away my age a little bit. But again, I sort of moved a slightly more technical route. So there's so many opportunities. And you asked about skills and what we're looking for. Ultimately, we're all going to, we're all getting great skills, from our degrees, from our courses and everything we do. But often, especially when you're looking to hire into a role, and me, myself, I very rarely hire experienced in. I try to bring junior talent in at all times. It gives my existing staff an opportunity to step up and do more. You're looking for the right person. You're looking for the right person with the right qualities. You cannot teach someone attention to detail. You cannot teach someone to have a positive attitude. You cannot teach someone to question things. You can teach them coding. You can teach them agile. You can teach them a lot of things. But, we're looking for that right type of person who has an inquiring mind and will bring all the different experiences from all their other jobs that they've had. I think the best way I can explain it is many years ago, I hired a researcher who worked in a lab on, in a bio lab, and I had a job where they would be interacting with the trading floor. So I'm looking at this individual who works mainly on her own in a very slow moving paced, society. She's setting up her own goals and everything. Very quiet, very competent. I had confidence she could do the job. I was just worried how she would be on a trading floor, which is fast. She actually convinced me to hire her because she said, well, in my spare time, I'm actually a Sunday school teacher. I have to keep 36 plus children occupied for 2 hours. If I can do that, I can manage the trading floor. She brought her other experiences in. And I think that's what you're looking for. You're looking at how you can add value and looking from people with different industry backgrounds and financial backgrounds. Testing in military, you've got to get that right. People can die. Testing in banking, no one's going to die. Money's going to be lost, but no one's going to die. People have they bring their ideas in, and through that, we get a much better organization and everything. So ultimately, when we're looking for people who, are going to bring what they've learned today, build on that, and move forward, and be very, I'm always wanting people to be very communicative on what they enjoy. There's a mindset that used to be once upon a time you need to be good at everything. There's another mindset that you focus on what you're good at, because if you focus on that, you enjoy your job. It doesn't seem like a job. Time goes by quickly. But again, the firm is so big, we can usually align people to what they find interesting, and mobility, growth, bringing people in from different backgrounds and everything is core to the firm. And that's why I stayed in the firm as long as I have, because I've seen the benefits and I've been rewarded by those benefits, because I myself was trained up and given an opportunity. So the opportunities are endless. Singapore is it's a huge hub, and we're not just doing work for Asia now, we're doing work for global, which makes it even more exciting.
Thanks, Catherine. Okay, thanks for your sharing. I think it's very interesting to know that people with different backgrounds actually bring diversity into the workforce, and there are skills that you may not be hard skills that you actually look for when it comes to such roles. So next, let's move on to Josephine. So I shared earlier about MAS's estimate, right, that there will be more than 3,000 technology jobs created in the financial sector this year. And just to add on, of these tech jobs, software developers and engineers continue to see the highest hiring demand, with more than 700 opportunities available. So with this strong demand that we're seeing for software engineers, it sounds like it's a role that has very promising job prospects. Perhaps you could share with us if this is a trend that you think will continue, and what, maybe just to reflect back, what attracted you to this role in the first place many years ago.
Okay, for software engineering, I think it's to deal with design, developments, coding, testing, deployments, and maintenance. So it's a suite of process that you learn throughout this software engineering. And actually, we are talking about having solutions that's provided to our end users and customers. So it's not just hardcore coding and everything. When you do all this design, when you do all this coding, you actually put the customer's requirement into the considerations. And therefore, it is something that is very, you feel very rewarding, especially when you deliver a project that is close to the heart, like, the fast, our fast payment, our pay now, all this is actually benefited a lot of people. And therefore, it is very rewarding, and it is, you just feel very accomplished. And therefore, software engineering is not just about development of coding, but it's also understanding the business behind the customer need, and how do you help the nation, the operations, right? So because of that, that's why you see that, even if you work on this area, it does not mean you end there. I mean, over here, we do have opportunities for people that after they have worked under software engineering, they change their role. They change from a developer to become a project manager, or someone actually can change their role from a developer to become a business analyst. Because under software engineering, you actually work with different types of stakeholders. You understand front to back kind of processes, flows, and everything. So that's why it kind of attracts a lot of people. So over here in UOB, we actually work on many strategic programs. We work on payments, we work on transformations, not just on our payments, on our trades. And I think recently you all know that we have this acquisition with the city retail business. So there are a lot of good opportunities here that someone that's interested to know, to find out what are the, how do we work on all this conversion of customers into, from bank to bank, and, how to work on payments, how to work on areas that is within the financial factors. I mean, this is a role that will attract a lot of people. That's my view. And in order to have this, working in software engineering, I would think we are looking for people that is having logical, analytical mindset, because that's very important, because then you know what is required. You do not want to deliver something that is having a lot of bugs or issues. So you also need to have some kind of problem solving skills. So when the bug surface, how are you going to resolve it quickly so that there's no issue to the industry or no issue to your customers, right? Or causing any reputation issues to the bank. But I think if you want to venture into this role, software engineering, I think the most important thing is you must have the hunger and eager to learn. Because when you switch from one industry to another, you do not know something, but then you need to learn, and you do have the curiosity to learn, be diligent in it, and sometimes you need to be thick skin of asking questions, be stupid or not, but you get what you want, right? And of course, you take ownership of the skills acquiring journey as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Josephine. Yeah, I think it makes the software engineering role actually sounds a lot more exciting. I think the prospects are endless. So last but not least, thanks for your patience, Karen. So you'll be sharing with us about technology, information, and cybersecurity risks, right? Which is a new tech area that we are offering under TFIP this year. So I think there was also a few questions in the chat, in the Q&A, asking what's the difference between this tech info and cybersecurity risk, and how is it different from cybersecurity? So perhaps you could share with us more about this new tech area, the increasing importance of this role within the insurance segment, and what qualities does one need to possess if they're thinking about entering this role?
Yeah, sure. So I saw a lot of questions asking about what is technology risk and cybersecurity means. Okay, technology risk meaning what you use in the company, being a laptop, start from a laptop that you use up to a server, how we protect it. Okay, and what is the risk if we don't do so? We just open for everybody to assess what is the risk, right? So this is a most basic knowledge about what we need to know and how we get it protected, how we protect our customer data when we store all this into our server, when we use it and extract on our laptop, how we protect it. Okay, this is technology risk. Info risk is really about the information, the customer information, the health information that we store when we want to transfer from one point to the other point. I need that to submit to CPF. You buy insurance with us, we need to submit your things, submit your payment, whatever things to CPF and even some other vendors, how we protect in between. When we get your consent, how we process it, make sure it's secure, nobody hijack in between, take your data and do something funny after that, right? And cybersecurity is really when we go on Azure, all these things, right? How we protect it, and when we talk about phishing exercise, when somebody send a funny message to your mother, click on it, then the bank account, oh, zero. How we avoid this kind of issue happen to our customer. So then after that, talk about ransomware, how we protect the company, how we do about it. We do a lot of training and preventive action, right? When it comes to ransomware, if really happen to the company, what we do about it, how we negotiate with all this funny guy, right, to protect our customer data. And we do a lot of event like hackathon. So make sure our company application, whatever the customer use, whatever the agent use, is secure, and they are assured, we are assured your information is always with us. You get to see all the accurate data. So that is in layman, what does it means? So when you want to come to this space, the quality we are looking at, like what Josephine said, curiosity, ask question, why we need to do this, why we restrict people of accessing our server, why we restrict people to do this and that, curiosity, ask question. Then of course, when you ask question, right, we expect you, after understanding what we do about it, how we can improve it, how we can make it more secure. Okay, it's a changing world. Everybody know how to hack things, right? Today you got this security, tomorrow is no longer secure. How we get it more secure in such a way that it's still flexible to our customer. Okay, then we also need people to have courage to tell what is right, what is wrong. So you need to very alert about what happened in your area. Nobody will tell you, oh, Karen, I'm doing something funny, please come and catch me. No, you will need to observe. The observation skill must be very good. Look at what people do, listen to what people do, tell them, sorry, this is wrong, please do in such a way, give them advice rather than just say wrong. Okay, then being nimble, being agile and adaptive to the change. So every day there's a new surprise come to you. I need you to approve this. I need to open this firewall, that things. So you have to come with all the surprise, all the sudden change. Okay, that is the three main value we are looking at. We, of course, come to the point about learning, whether technology skill set, whatever skill set, that is something can be learned, and you will be learned during the 6 months journey. Yeah.
Thanks so much. So I think across all of you, the common themes that I picked up in terms of attributes that a mid-careerist should have if they're thinking about pivoting into a tech role in finance is curiosity, adaptability, and the ability to understand customers, right? So ability to not just do your coding or do your deal with data, but actually understanding what can be derived from all this work that you're doing that would benefit the customers. So thanks so much for that sharing. I just wanted to expand on, Karen, your what you just shared about cybersecurity and tech risk. I understand you had a similar experience, right, mentoring cybersecurity trainees in the previous cohort. You were also a mid-career switcher yourself. So perhaps you could share with us your experience both as a mentor to a mid-careerist pivoting into this role, as well as a mid-career switcher yourself previously. What kind of mindset do you think is important for someone contemplating to a switch?
Okay, I think when we think about change, is get yourself ready, get your mind ready. So your mind will translate to your action and you will go into a smooth way. Get it ready, waiting for changes. Of course, get it prepared first. When you're ready means you will need to prepare something for the upcoming. Reading of the related information, get it prepared before you go to interview. Right? A lot of people go to interview without preparation. Tell me that I'm not sure, but get yourself prepared when you're ready for change, right? Not about something now I don't like my current work, that's why I want to be a change, but it's really what the change will benefit you, what you wanted to be. The mindset is really important. When you come to the change, of course, from from all the company, we will help you in terms of learning, mentoring. Okay, come to my two trainees. We have two trainees in the department. We always give them a very objective things, what you need to do. We started with objective setting, okay, what you need to deliver. We discuss whether is it something that you're comfortable of doing, how you can do it. After that, we will let you to experience, try it, right? Along the way, you are not alone. We have the expert, you have the pen tester going together with you, tell you how they do pen test. Okay, you will pair with them. Then after that, if you really have problems, put up your hand, say, sorry, I really cannot do. What else you can help me? So we encourage you to be open, tell us what you face, and together we can solve the issue. On the half-yearly basis, we'll again review your performance. The performance is not only for permanent staff. For trainee, we do treat you the same. Okay, no, in our company, regardless you are trainee, perm staff, contingent worker, whatever, you are the same. We treat you the same. Okay, come to mid-year. What additional things you want to do? What else you want to do? New things we will ask you. Then come to year end, we will tell you, hey, are you doing a good job? What else you can improve? That is really the process you will go through together with us. You are not alone. Okay, I'm sure with your experience now it's getting better. The last batch we have, which currently with us, right? They joined during the COVID section. During COVID, we can't reach them. It's like, oh, who are you? Where you are? So we are helping them along the way, having a daily 30 minutes call with them to brief them, to guide them along the way. Okay, that will be the journey you will go through with us.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks for sharing with us your experience. So I think for Josephine, UOB has been on TFIP for the last 3 years. So one of the FIs that has been supporting us all this while. And you've got trainees from the software engineering tech area before. So perhaps you could share with us what was the journey like for some of your trainees and the support that was provided to them to help them with this transition.
Okay, I think we have two that is joining as software engineering last year. We do provide kind of buddy systems that will help us, help the candidates to pick up the knowledge faster. So then there will be regular check with them, understanding where the concerns is and how do we help them to improve. So the buddy system is someone that will sit side by side with them so that, they can ask any questions or in need or whatever, then this person can help them. Of course, then there will be a mentor here as well that can, monitor the progress and step in when necessary. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Josephine.
Thank you.
Pauline, you also shared with me, right, that you had the opportunity to mentor TFIP trainees directly from the previous cohorts, and your experience was amazing. So, but I suppose it wasn't really a smooth journey throughout, right? So, were there any challenges that your trainees faced, and what kind of training and on-the-job support did you provide them to help them cope with some of these uncertainties or changes that they had to deal with?
Sure. I have 2 batch of training. I'm waiting for my 3rd batch coming. So I guess the first batch especially, we got them in, and the main challenge is mainly more of whether we have enough relevant project for them to do. I think because that was the first batch was like back in end of 2020 when we get them on. So we had a project, and then halfway through, maybe there's change of strategy, etc. So we need to find another project that help to ensure them to have the relevant experience. Now, these things do happen because sometimes when organization, we have certain project plan, and then maybe we have change of strategies. The good thing is the TFIP trainees that I have, they were very diligent. I have to say, I really, I'm quite impressed. At least I have 2 batches right now. Both batches, the candidates are superb. They add on to what Josephine say, and also Karen, coming on, especially you're doing mid-career switch, you may or may not have some prior experience. If you have some exposure, that's good, because that's easy for you to get into it. You can relate to the issues. For those that you don't, I see some of my TFIP trainees, they actually went out and learned on their own to beef up their knowledge in the area, and so that they can apply, which I'm superly impressed. In fact, all the trainees that we have so far are all permanent staff with the banks right now, because of their diligence and because of the commitment they demonstrate to us. They can go into different roles. Like 3 of my initial TFIP trainees, they were on data analytics trained. And some of them felt that actually I'm quite like coding. I don't mind technical. So they went into engineering at the system engineering part. And the other one that followed me throughout was he likes data and data management and data governance, because currently I'm in the data and digital platform. So he followed me along, and then he's my right hand man right now. So I think that the key thing is you have to be open. We do have some challenge, but they come along with us. But I think luckily there's just one of that. But very importantly is, as a mentor for me, I will have to find some star project for them to do, so that we can let them show the management as well, and so show the other part of the bank as well what the TFIP trainee can do, and that will help me then find job opportunity for them. So I think that's key. For us, we do mentorship, and we also have, basically we treat them like our full-time employee. They go through the same training as our full-time employee will go through. They had mentors. They also have buddies within the department. So I rotate them to the different tech department so that they learn the different things. And then we look out for star projects to do. On the individual perspective, some of them do talk to me that about if they don't have the relevant skill. I think the key thing is you should be open. Don't struggle yourself if you feel that I'm not picking up. So they come to me and they say, I don't quite get this, Pauline. I don't understand when trade business say about this. I don't understand. So then I work with them, I explain to them, and I also bring them to the trade team and get them to explain what does that mean, what kind of business requirement are they looking for. So come forward early. Don't try to struggle yourself, and then eventually you deliver something that not the business wanted. Because during this 12 to 18 months that you are with any FI that you're appointed to, it is very important for you, because that will make sure you eventually succeed or not. So if you feel that you are not learning, if you feel that you don't understand, don't waste those time. Highlight to your mentors, highlight to your managers. They will be able to support you, because we are in it with you, and we also have the same interest to make you successful. We are also investing 14 to 18 months of our time on you. So we want you to be successful. So I guess the key thing is, if there is ever you feel challenged that we're not aware, do raise your hand and we can help you out.
Thanks, Pauline. So yeah, I'm hearing that you should be open-minded to opportunities, and in fact, TFIP sounds like a program that allows you, is like a stepping stone, right, for you to explore the various opportunities that are available within the financial sector. So yeah, thanks so much.
Yes, yeah, in that way, if I can just add, in fact, couple of my TFIP trainee, because we gave them pretty good project, they were receiving offer from outside the bank before we even offered them. So I have to keep them. So that's the thing. Coming back to, if you are good with working out with your managers and you are doing very good job, you are marketable. The market is really hot. Technical role, it is needed. So it's a very good stepping stone. And just want to add, if for those who couldn't get in to because every intake we have limited seats. So for those that couldn't get in, don't give up. You just keep lookout for what is the relevant experience, the relevant knowledge that you need to get for the role you're interested at. Just continue to get yourself more up to it, but beef up your knowledge. I have one TFIP trainee that she had tried 3 times, from the first TFIP to the second take, and now she's with me on my third take. So don't give up. You can get in if this is the area you want to get in, and also if FI is what you want to get in.
Yeah, thanks for the great advice. Yes, so keep trying. Even if you don't succeed this time round, continue to upskill yourself, equip yourself with the relevant knowledge, keep up the speed, and yeah. So thanks, Pauline, for sharing very realistic issues and challenges on the ground. All right, now I was thinking, Catherine, right? You were sharing earlier about how you went through a mid-career switch yourself. So just a question to ask you, right? Looking back at your own experience, what advice would you give to our audience today to encourage them to take that leap of faith to apply for this program? Any words of advice?
Yeah, and I mean, it is a leap of faith, because it's really hard leaving something you know. And every time I've done it, my career has gone up and up and up. And, I've learned as much as roles I've taken that I haven't enjoyed as much as roles I have enjoyed and learned from. But again, I think you're bringing the wealth from everything else that you've got. There's and I'm glad Pauline mentioned, this is a great program, because again, we've had exactly the same problem at JP. Before the program offers, people know that there's some great people out there with some amazing skills, and it is a very hot market. So I think from myself, there's doubt. Doubt comes into play, because you naturally compare yourself to someone else who that's their first career. So, straight out of university, they've spent 6 years there. You're 10 years older. You're coming straight in, and you start comparing yourself. And when I first started, when I actually made the move was joining Accenture as a consultancy, actually working in their financial division. I was a 30-year-old married woman, the same grade as 21-year-olds coming straight out of university, and I'm comparing myself. They weren't. This was me doing the comparing. But very quickly, I got promoted much quicker than they did. Was I better at coding? Was I better at this? No. But I realized the value of the role, and I'd done roles that, maybe it wasn't so well paid. Well, the employer didn't value you as much. But I realized how lucky I was to get this role. So every time an opportunity came up, I put my hand up. You know, we've got testing to do. I'll do it. You know, there's a problem on the trade floor. Will you got that? I'll do it. No problem. I would say yes to everything. I was very lucky getting a mentor very on. I think Pauline and some of the others mentioned the importance of mentoring. Mentoring is incredibly important because, again, if you're unsure about something, often you don't want to raise it within the team you are. You want a neutral party who you can talk to. So again, I was very fortunate to have a mentor. I took lots of training as well. And more importantly, I also did a lot of training that was available inside the firm. You know, and again, all of our companies do great training. But again, that helps you build your network up. You know so much things, but you know, in big organizations, you need a good network around you. So I went to all the training and built my network up. I helped people, and in return, they helped me. And again, I was playing to my strengths. I realized very early on when I moved, I wasn't the best at coding. I wrote things, it worked well. I was good at organizing. I was good at talking to people. Part of that came from the fact I was a hairdresser. People tell hairdressers things they don't even tell their spouses. So I was actually good in that type of area. So I filled that role. The thing is, again, it is a challenge learning. Learning is a challenge. You get outside your comfort zone. And to the point raised, if you don't understand something, sometimes you just don't understand something. Sometimes you're seeing an error and that's why you don't understand it. And again, you know, fresh minds coming in from different areas see things that you sort of become blinkered to when you've been in that industry for a long time. So again, raising that, because again, more often than not, this is what I see from some of our junior talent. It's like, why do we do this? And I'm like, actually, I don't know. We've just done it like that for the last 10 years. You know, sometimes these sorts of things happen as well. So you've got to be a little bit uncomfortable, but you soon get in your comfort zone. Don't doubt yourself. Don't compare yourself to someone else. People's learning speeds are different. You know, it's like when you watch the runners, you know, leave a race. There's someone that goes off in the front, and then sometimes that person in the back catches up and overtakes. You can't sort of go doing that. You know, don't be afraid to take on challenges, or don't be, again, you know, sometimes there's people that know exactly what they want to do, but try things you might not think of. Again, with my career, you know, I took a role more in sales, which I didn't really enjoy. I was good at it, but I didn't enjoy it. It felt like work. Sort of the area I'm in now doesn't feel so much like work. You know, and take opportunity of everything that's there within the firm. You know, get to meet other people, get to see what's available. All of our organization, you know, our organization is huge. You know, moving to partner is like moving jobs sometimes. It's, you know, it's such a different pace. There's different things happening. And again, you'll see lots of info shares and things like that. You've got to get your work done. But a lot of our, you know, what we've learned from COVID and things like that, you know, there's little short training sessions, sound bites on this. You can get to learn all of that. You know, do the best that you can. And as I say, I've never looked back. If I hadn't taken that, you know, that leap of faith at 26 and gone back to university, I would have just stayed where I was. I've seen the world now. I mean, I never considered my humble beginning as I've worked in the US, I've lived in Hong Kong, I'm now in Singapore. It's amazing. I feel so privileged and lucky. That would never have happened if I hadn't have thought when I got that piece of paper and my qualification, I can do more than I currently am, or I can go and do this. You know, I find it amazing now every time. And what's really good about programs like this, it does encourage people to speak up. Once upon a time, I was embarrassed to say that I didn't get a degree till I'm 26. Now I'm like, I'm fine with saying that because, you know, I'm very proud of what I've achieved, but that was achieved with great organizations, with mentors, with great training and everything else. So it can be a bit scary. But all of our organisations are hiring a lot from this programme, so you're not alone. There is a support network there, and you know it doesn't matter where you started; it's about where you finish. So, as I say, you know, I think this is a fantastic programme Singapore's doing. I think there should be more of it, and hopefully all of us get some great more future workforces because we do need good people. Finding good people is the hardest thing. I think all of my panelists will concur to that.
Yes. Thank you for your very inspiring advice. Josephine, just to wrap up, yourself and Geraldine, right? For Josephine first, if you had to advise a younger version of yourself before you embark on a career in software engineering, what advice would you give yourself?
Actually, I personally started as a programmer without limited computer knowledge, actually. I'm actually a math graduate. I think it is the perseverance to succeed, the proactive to learn, and the positive mindsets that, and also do not afraid to make mistakes that bring me to where I am today. So I would like to give the same advice to the talents here that, just be perseverance of what on the roles that you want to do. But of course, on software engineering, you will feel very rewarding, right? Especially when you deliver projects. So it will give you great accomplishment, right? But of course, there is something that they may need to consider is that being tech, the working hours may not be, 9 to 6. It may require to actually, spend a lot of time when situation call for it. So if you think that this is something that is good for you, and this is something that you want to achieve with great accomplishment, but yet with some flexible working hours, just go for it. Yeah.
Thanks, Josephine. Okay, and to help us wrap up, Geraldine, any last word of advice for our audience today?
So I just like to start, in my personal capacity as a mentor to younger folks, often when I have a person who wants to pivot into this area, I actually tell them to evaluate currently their domain where they are. For example, there was a person with a psychology background who wanted to do data analytics. And I said to her, look, can you look in your current organization, find ways in which you are able to leverage data in your work. It doesn't have to be part of your scope, but it could be just stepping out there to do this additional scope that could help you pivot and kind of transit into the role within data analytics that you wish to get at. So I guess it makes it more gentle, the transition as well. And at the very least, you can assess whether this is something that you're passionate about, the strengths that you want as well. I think the second point I think a lot of people have already spoken about is about expanding your network, talking to people in this field, understanding the challenges and where your expertise and interests may best align as well. And I think most importantly is just being very open-minded and getting your hands dirty in there as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So thank you very much, panelists, for your very generous and insightful sharing. So with this, we have come to the end of our chat. Thank you all for being such a great audience. So please join me to thank our panelists once again for spending their morning with us. Thank you. So back to you, Nicole. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you very much, Catherine, Geraldine, Pauline, Josephine, Karen, and Yan-Wei for the insightful discussion and for all the advice for future TFIP trainees. Let's now hear from our TFIP 2020 trainees on their experience in the program. So joining us today on the panel will be Vincent from IBS and also Chun Singh, who is currently in SGX and previously in the TFIP 2020 Cybersecurity track, Kwok Ho, currently in OCBC, and Connie Hon from Goldman Sachs, both previously from the TFIP 2020 Data Analytics track, and Kwek Boon Kiat, currently in Deutsche Bank and from the TFIP 2020 Software Engineering track. Vincent, over to you.
Thanks, Nicole. So a very warm welcome to everyone, and thank you, Kwok Ho, Chun Singh, Connie, as well as Boon Kiat for agreeing to this panel. So this section of the panel will actually address a bit more on the emotional, a bit more on the different concerns that you might have being an aspiring applicant to this program. So I do have a good representation of trainees who have both who are currently in training and have been converted to permanent employees as part of the program itself. So I would like to begin by giving an opportunity for Kwok Ho to start off with a self-introduction. Kwok Ho, please.
Hi, I'm Kwok Ho. My previous role was a research engineer from NUS. I'm working mainly on material testing. I'm generally involved in the setting up of the test environment for the research fellows for the mechanical and electrical testing. So my current role in OCBC is actually a business analyst in a global commercial banking under the data analytics department. So we help business users get insights and make business decisions using customers' data.
Yeah, thank you, Kwok Ho. Maybe in a related vein, can I also get Connie to share, since Connie is also from the data analytics track?
Hi everyone, I'm Connie and I'm currently with Goldman Sachs. Before the program, I was a product manager with the domain names industry. So for 7 years, and it was a long time. That company, if you ask me what a domain name registrar does, so we basically help large companies manage their domain name portfolio. And my job at this particular company was to ensure that domain name launches were well prepared for, i.e. our systems were well prepared, our teams were on standby, they knew their processes, our marketing and communications went out to customers so that they knew that this new product was coming. So that was my job in a nutshell. Nowadays, I'm with Goldman Sachs. I'm doing BI work with the operations division. And part of my day-to-day job would be to code to make reports and to do reconciliation work, regulatory reporting, and so on. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. Next, can I have Jun Sing? Jun Sing, would you like to have a quick introduction of yourself as well as what you have done previously compared to your current job in SGX?
Right. Hi, it's Jun Sing here. Okay, prior to the TFIP program, I was working in a technology firm. So, but a couple of years ago, due to a report, I was laid off. And then after that, I bumped around for a while and I thought I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Started a business with a few friends, but eventually realized that it's not going to work. So tried to get back to the workforce. But in the technology sector, right? Once you're away for an extended period of time, it's difficult to get back to the workforce. So, and then coupled with the fact that in 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic struck, and then opportunities were just drying up. So I came to know about this TFIP program, applied for it, cleared the assessment and the interviews, was finally admitted. Finally got admitted by SGX. And my current role now in SGX is in the IT control department, and we're looking after the governance and the compliance of the InfoSec, info security in SGX.
Thank you, Sing. So last but not least, can I have Boon Kiat? Boon Kiat, could you do a quick introduction of yourself as well as what you currently do compared to what you have done previously?
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Boon Kiat. Previously, I was working as a systems engineer and doing hardware-related work. So, for example, when a company wants to set up a new IT infrastructure, I was the one who installs the physical servers, the network equipment, the network cabling, and all the operating system installation and configuration for the servers. So right now, I work with a team of software developers, software testers, and business analysts to develop, test, and maintain production systems. We work in an agile team with sprints of 2 weeks each. So at the start of each sprint, there will be a planning session where tasks are assigned, and at the end of the sprint, we will discuss about what we have done well and what we can do better, and also any blockers that we face. So it's also what we've done well and what we can do better. Then every day we have a stand-up call before lunch where we discuss about what we have completed, what we are doing, and any blockers that we face. And then occasionally we have a technical sharing session in the late afternoon. So in the process of developing the requirements, sometimes we also have things to clarify with the business analysts. And sometimes we have a session where we demonstrate the software that we have developed. And occasionally we stay back later than usual to fix issues if there are any. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Thanks, Boon Kiat. So I think thanks for all the sharing. So I think this is a panel that comprises of individuals who come from a very diverse background, individuals who have done previous research engineering job roles, done network analyst roles, entrepreneur even, and I think for this one of the key aspects of the TFIP program is that this is a conversion program. It is a big step to move from what you were previously doing to move into a technology-related role in finance. So perhaps I could ask this question as to what motivated you to make the switch from your previous role to the current job role that you are, or rather the current training area that you are in. So perhaps I pose this question first to Connie. Connie, would you please share with us?
Sure. So if I go back 2 years ago, I was nearly 7 years in my previous role. And if I looked at myself in the industry, I was already with the largest company in Singapore for the kind of industry that we were in. If I wanted to, move into a higher position or higher role within the same company, I would have to move to the US. And so the mobility wasn't there. If I went to a competitor, I can't. So, so the mobility issue was there. And also because I've been with the job for such a long time, I felt that, perhaps I should be on the lookout for what other things are there. Is there something suitable for me out there? So I tried to I went on a job hunt, serious. And I went for interviews, not a lot. Just went for some, just to like test the waters and see where my market value was at. And I went to interview with a payments company. Went through 3 rounds. It's not a lot because they have many, many rounds, but went through 3 rounds and I didn't pass that round. But what I got, the feedback that I got made me realize that, perhaps I wasn't chosen because I lacked certain skills. I wasn't very marketable. Maybe that was because of me, because I've been rather stagnant in my previous role. And so that inspired me to upskill myself. So I started looking out on Coursera for courses that I could do with whatever spare time I had. And also I was thinking, what kind of industry would I be interested in? That was 2019, and it was at, I would say, nearly the start of COVID. So, you're really thinking about what industry has longevity, what industry has the kind of opportunity that would be even relevant in times of a COVID times or recession or whatsoever. So it got me thinking, and my experience with the interview with the payments company made me realize that, hey, this was a good industry to be in. So I should endeavor to look that way. So in my job hunt, on my online courses, and then, I managed to come across the TFIP program, and I thought to myself, this could be a good opportunity. I was actually encouraged by my husband to just take the plunge and just join. If you pass the test, then you go on to the next round, right? So you don't have to fear so much. It's just take it one step at a time. And so I took his advice. I went through with the exams, and then later on with the interviews, and then now here I am. So I hope I shared enough to let everyone have a feel of why I made the switch.
Yeah, thanks, Connie. Very inspiring. I think this is a truly personal perspective on this, as well as I think that interview, especially with the payments company, let you see what really was for you. And I think this, hopefully this has actually provided you a very good opportunity to move into this area as well. Next, can I actually invite Kwok Ho? Kwok Ho, what made you make the switch? Why IT and finance? Could you share a bit on that?
Okay, so for me, there was a push and pull factor. Firstly, as a research engineer, there wasn't really much of a career progression, except if you maybe have a PhD, but it's like 4 years. So, and at the same point in time, as a research engineer, it's really just chasing grant after grant and to get your next pay. So I would say the career stability wise isn't really what I'm optimistic about. So I tried to just search for opportunities out there. I just, my friend actually saw the advertisement on Facebook and he just asked me, maybe would you like to try this? So just looking at the different tracks that you have, I just saw, and maybe for the data analytics, since that I do have some statistical background, because for a research engineer, we definitely need some statistical analysis, but definitely not in the scale of what the financial institution does. And furthermore, the data that is coming in for FI is huge, and it's like coming at different velocities, I think it's a great place to actually know or at least dive into data analytics. So that's why I applied for the course and yeah, here I am now.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coco. So I think a very forward-looking approach from your end. So you do foresee that it will be, there are some difficulties in terms of what you were previously in terms of research engineering. So you were looking for more stability. You were looking out for something that will give you a very good exposure in the field of data analytics, and I think that plunge actually worked out for you. So next, Chun Sing. So I think Chun Sing, you mentioned that your experience is actually quite interesting as well. So you moved, you were laid off, and then you started an entrepreneurship. That didn't work out for you. But what made you attracted to the technology field when I think in the past areas that you have actually delved in, they are not exactly tech in nature?
Actually, before I was laid off, I had prior experience in software development, in project management, and in consulting. But after I decided to rejoin the workforce, I realized that it's just difficult after you've been away for a while. So I started looking around and see which is the hot sector to look for, and I came across cybersecurity. Back then, I think there were a few very high-profile cases, for example, like the SingHealth data breach kind of thing. So I thought, yeah, maybe this is a sector that I would be interested to be working in. But then I had very little knowledge on cybersecurity. So in order to get into this field is almost impossible, I guess. So along came this TFIP program. I saw the program, I saw the structure, I thought, whoa, this is something that really, might be able to get me into the workforce again and into something that I would be interested to work in the sector, and especially in FI, because I believe in terms of security, FIs, they would have to place a lot of emphasis on security because they're dealing with money, they're dealing with huge amounts of money. So, which is why I decided to sign up for the TFIP program.
Thank you, Chun Sing. So next, Boon Kiat, I think you came from a hardware tech-related background when you were doing some sort of hardware setups in your previous role. What made you think about software engineering and specifically software engineering in financial institutions? What made you decide to take that switch and move into this area?
For me, I wanted to upgrade my skills and learn how software is developed and maintained. So, which is why I joined TFIP, which would give me an opportunity to do so. Otherwise, with my skill sets in just system configuration, I would not be able to get a software development position anywhere if I apply.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Go ahead. So sorry, okay.
Oh yeah,
go ahead.
okay. So I wanted to say, yeah. So with the experience gained in this OJT, I definitely gained quite a lot of skill sets related to software engineering. Like I program in Java. I learned how to use Git. I learned about the different CI/CD processes like Jenkins, and also how issues are tracked in Jira. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think what it has been rather fruitful for you. So which was also one of my follow-up questions was how has the upskilling been for you over the past year and a half that you have been with the company, and what has that actually? What do you think that you're better positioned now in terms of the software engineering space as compared to what you were a year and a half ago?
Yeah, I definitely learned a lot on the technique, on the processes in developing and maintaining software. Like after developing, there's an automated build to test the software that you build before you actually deploy it out, and the deployment itself can also be automated also.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Boon Kiat. So I think as part of the program itself, TFIP comprises of two components, being the structured training as well as job attachments to the company. As mid-career switchers, individuals who are converting into this area without prior experience, do you think that there are a lot of challenges? How have your journey been? What has the different components of TFIP, has it been helpful to you in helping you be able to transit and perform the job activities, job scopes that you are currently assigned to? Maybe Bunket, I start off with you again.
Yeah, I felt that the structured training was great. I learned the fundamentals of front end and back end development, but it was not enough. During the OJT, one of the challenges I faced was understanding how the different components of the system that I was working on works. So how I overcame this challenge was by attending technical sharing sessions when they are available, which are organized by my colleagues, or I would search for documentation, or I would ask colleagues who are around. And also I would also try to tinker around with the system in a controlled development environment. So it's a lot of self-learning. So yeah, self-learning, self-exploring, and you have to put in a lot of effort to learn. Yeah.
Great. How about you, Chun Sing? Has the structured training and on the on-the-job training, the job attachments to the company been challenging for you? What has went well? What you think were the steeper learning curves that you had to climb over?
I think the structured learning and the OJT, they complement each other very well. Well, the structured training has equipped me with the fundamentals that is essential for the later part of the OJT. Well, the training didn't, turn me into experts into any fields, but at least there is the fundamental skills that I can start with. And then going on to the OJT part, it is an entirely different environment, because structured learning, we are in classroom environment, and sometimes we have online learning and all. But in the organization itself, we're facing challenges every day. It's an entirely different environment. We're talking about operations and all. But to me, it is still part of the learning journey. So although, I have already equipped myself with the fundamentals, but there are certain things that I still do not know. So it's a matter of like probing, asking, and if I really, run into any stumble blocks and approach my colleagues, most of them are very helpful, or they will point me to the right direction, to the right people. So along the way, yes, I did pick up a lot of knowledge during the OJT to complement the skills that I've learned during the structured training. So I guess it is more of the adjusting your mindset, your expectation of the OJT. So nothing is going to be laid out nicely for you. You just have to maneuver, you have to navigate within the organization, you have to learn, you have to probe, and then just enjoy the entire journey, the learning journey.
Yeah, thank you, Chun Sing. So Connie and Ho, I think for you, you guys also didn't come from a relevant area. I think what we have actually given to you, or rather administered as part of the program, is a structured training followed by on-the-job training. So there's always this stigma that people always consider themselves to be a bit of at a disadvantage because they did not go through formal education prior to joining the program itself. So when comparing yourself to your colleagues currently, because you have been converted, do you think that has affected you in any way? Or do you find that whatever has been administered to you in terms of your job attachments and the structured training has prepared you sufficiently for this role? Maybe I can invite Kwok to start first. Yes.
Okay, so for me, honestly, the course only taught us Python, R, but what I really use in my job currently right now, the data wrangling language is SAS. It's like completely different. So to me, I just have to learn. I just have to learn. I guess everyone really, when you come to a new job, there will definitely be stuff that you need to learn. Be open about it. If you have questions, ask. Your colleagues are there for you. I have a mentor. I mean, definitely you do need to ask and get their experience, get their advice, find out from them what is the right thing to do. Yeah. I don't think we are in any way disadvantaged. Yeah.
Great. How about you, Connie? How has that experience been for you?
I would say that the structured training was over a month. It was not a long time. But in that 1 month, what I find valuable about the structured training was that it gave us a very good foundation of what to expect and what to know about. Like it directed us to like what's important to know about in the data analytics field. And two, it exposed us to tools that we might have never used before. Why I say this is because, you know, when let's say we do a search online for something, we normally only search for what we know about. We will not search for something we don't know about, right? Unless somebody has told us, hey, there's this thing, okay, then you do a search. But if you have never even heard of that thing, you wouldn't know what to search for it. So I would say that this course, one of the valuable things is that it exposes us to tools like machine learning and so on, that it's like elements of data science and mostly data analytics. This is what I find valuable about the structured training. And because it's only a month long, it's definitely not a long time. So most of the learning we do on the program is during OJT itself. And I think during OJT itself, we have mentors, right? For us in the organization, we have colleagues. We have colleagues from the program. We have colleagues outside of the program who are full-timers with the organization. Everyone's super helpful, super supportive. And I would say, I think hearing from our fellow panelists, I think all of us on this panel learned on our own before, during, or after, like even now, probably. And I think self-learning is a huge thing that's part of this program, but wasn't expressly stated. But we have to self-learn, and learning doesn't stop after structured training. Learning actually continues even throughout the OJT itself. Yes, we should go on our own to learn, to find out more information. We ask questions because people don't know what we don't know. They probably wouldn't like just give information if they think we know about it already, but voice your questions. And I think that for me, that's been really helpful in finding out things for myself. I would think that the self-learning thing is pretty important.
So I think the insight that continuous learning, learning before, learning during, after, all these are very, very important, especially in the space of technology, where we see the technology moving at a very quick pace. The structured training provides a good foundation. However, a lot of it actually comes down to the individual to be able to approach your colleagues, seek help when needed, and of course, look up for continuous learning in the journey of your TFIP journey as well. So thank you so much for this, for sharing on this structured training on the job component of the program. I'd like to ask, so I think in terms of the applicant journey, I think a lot of people are curious as well. What are some of the key attributes that you think set yourself aside from the other applicants that were competing with you in the TFIP 2020 batch? So for the panel, I understand that some of you have individuals who came from the profile that Pauline earlier mentioned, that individuals who tried for many years, many batches. So what do you think along the years, what you have done actually set yourself aside? Or even for you, if you are a first-time applicant for the TFIP 2020 program, what you think made you unique and attracted the attention of the recruiters when they were considering you for the program in 2020? Perhaps maybe I start off with Sing.
Yeah, I guess okay. I think the aptitude test part is pretty standard for everybody. So if you have passed that, then you get the chance to secure an interview with the FI of choice. Perhaps it was during the interview that you have to show the hiring manager your enthusiasm, your keenness in this subject. and probably your attitude, and of course you have to go prepared for the interview. So I guess that's probably my experience.
Thanks, Bukit. Sorry, thanks, Chun Sing. Yeah. So next, maybe since I mentioned Bukit, Bukit, would you mind sharing what do you think that you attracted the attention of the interviewers who interviewed for your position in 2020?
I would say, okay, for software engineering, we actually had to do like about 3 tests before the interview itself. So we had to complete and pass the test. So that's one thing that you have to work hard on. And I'm not sure if it's still applicable now, but at the time when I applied it was. And also during the interview itself, that for software engineering there'll be some technical questions, so maybe you can prepare beforehand. Like for banks, I think most of them would be using Java, so maybe you can try to familiarize yourself with some Java interview questions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think just to clarify, for the structured training assessment this year, the format will be decided. But Bukit, you correctly mentioned that for interview 2020, there were some aptitude tests that were actually administered. Within those tests, there are some requirements where we will test on your basic ability in terms of coding, in terms of Java. So this will likely still be something that the training providers will require, as software engineering has a very steep learning curve. But at the same time, the fulfillment behind the software engineering is something that is very different, as mentioned by Josephine as well. So Josephine earlier mentioned that for software engineering, there was always a sense of fulfillment in terms of when you deliver a certain product, or deliver a certain application. Bukit, have you personally felt that as part of your work in Deutsche Bank so far?
Fulfillment. Okay, I would say the fulfillment I get would be when I'm able to solve like a very technically challenging problem. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Bukit. Maybe I pose the next question to Kwok Ho. So, what made you think that you stood out from your fellow applicants at the 2020 batch?
Actually, for me, I applied twice. I applied for 2 years now. But what really stood me out, at least for the interview that I had, and I subsequently got into OCBC, I actually had a Coursera machine learning certificate, and I sort of wanted, I guess the interviewer, my boss, so asked me about it, why I had it. Actually, it was really out of curiosity to apply machine learning on maybe agriculture, to how do you use computer vision and determine how ripe a fruit is, how do you use machine learning to drive a robot from around a farm. So how do you sort of introduce technology into agriculture? And I think perhaps that's why my boss saw, hey, this guy is interesting. Yeah, that's why maybe he got me in. I'm not sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. So, I think you probably have demonstrated your interest in this area. I think, but just by that Coursera certification, just by that very simple sharing in terms of what you were interested in, that showed your passion and keenness in this area. So I think that was that was what I gotten out of your sharing in terms of what many things you stood out from the other applications. Connie, maybe I pose again the same question back to you. Would you have any insights on this, on what you think made you stood out compared to the other applicants?
I think for the interviews at TFIP, I honestly prepared for it the most, like of any interviews in my life. I prepared way much more for the TFIP interviews, in the sense that I I went in self-learning, right? I went to upskill myself, but not just in technical skills, but also in soft skills, communication skills. So I know I'm a poor public speaker, so I went on YouTube and I went to search for videos how to speak like in public, like what you should do, what practical tips, etc. Practice, and I practiced. And then I went to do a search for the top 25 interview questions. And I basically wrote down the answers for them, and I really prepared in anticipation that some of these questions might be asked because they're pretty standard. And then going into the interview, I think what the interviews were looking out for were how they were not asking you questions like about the industry itself, because they took it that you don't have any relevant experience, but they were looking out for whether you self-learned. You have this tendency to ask questions. You have this tendency to be curious about things. You have an intellectual curiosity, and also they were surprised somewhat that when I told them that I am taking this course, etc. They were like, "Oh, okay, that's impressive." So I think things like that just help. Because somehow you're better prepared for the interview. I would say these are the things that help me to stand out.
Great. So I think the common message that I'm getting across all the panelists is that the continuous learning, the demonstration of passion, and of course preparation for the interviews actually helped in helping them to secure and make a mark for themselves as compared to the other applications that came in, individuals who are shortlisted and interviewed by the financial institutions. So I think this is something. These are some nuggets of advice. I think maybe just to add on a few more questions on this. What are some of the key moments that you think define the program itself in TFIP? Meaning that what have you experienced in the process of TFIP that you find most memorable, and something that you think would be a sharing that you would give to potential applicants today? Connie, maybe I'll start off with you.
Okay, I would say that I really enjoyed the whole process. I think having fun and working hard are both important. So when I was doing the structured training, even though it was over Zoom, but you can still catch up with people. You can still have chats with people who were in the same breakout room as you. And I think I remember we had a Telegram chat started up as well, so that we could chat outside of the classroom. Kofo is smiling. Then, and also in the OJT itself, really network, even though you don't know whether you're going to be there after 18 months, but like really still network and get to know the people around you, find out what they do, learn from them. I mean, for me, many of them are younger than me, but they have so much to teach me. And so I would say enjoy the journey, which it doesn't necessarily stop after 18 months. It might be the start of a new journey, or it might be a new journey in terms of a new position or a new role or a new beginning at the company.
Great, thanks, Cody. Boon Kiat, how about you? Any impressionable moments that as part of TFIP, what you've experienced so far?
For me, the most memorable moment would probably be my colleagues, and also being able to work in CBD also. So, for example, like sometimes, occasionally, me and my colleagues would go like jog around the CBD area after work. Yeah, but it was quite nice. Yeah, and then and then there's like chilling out after work. Yeah.
I think it's very heartwarming to see interactions with colleagues, with fellow TFIP trainees as well. How about you? Are there any?
Yeah. I think the most memorable is probably during the structured training. Back then, although it's during the pandemic, but we did have physical classroom sessions. So we go for lunches together, dinners and all. And I remember on the very last day of our structured training, in fact, each and every one of my classmates, we went for this dinner at this restaurant. But back then, it was there was some restriction in dining in, so we have to split ourselves like 20 over of us into quite a number of tables, only like 4 or 5 person in a table. But yeah, we had, we ate, we drank, we had fun, and yeah, that was very memorable. But in terms of the entire journey, I guess my happiest moment is when my effort was recognized by my employer. And I was offered a conversion in 2 months ago on the 1st of April. I was converted to a permanent staff. Although my program doesn't end till sometime in October this year. So they have actually converted me like 6 months earlier than it was expected.
Yeah. That's great. That's really great to hear, Chun-Seng. I'm really happy for you as well.
Thank you.
Coco, last but not least, any questionable or fresh moments from TFIP that you'd like to share?
For me, of course, yes, doing the structured training program, you meet up different people, there are classmates who, during the training, when after the training, just have dinner, have drinks, they're fun batch. And of course, during the OJT itself, but you still continue to meet up with them. I still do meet up with some of them. And at the same point in time, catch up, find out how things are, where are they now. And at the same point in time, also because for me, when I was doing the program, I was doing a loan propensity model, so I was actually trying to see the deployment itself. So effectively, how did the model help the business users and to really see the improvement in the processes and how the leads are being targeted and see them being working more effectively and more efficiently. I think that's a very it's a nice moment.
Great. Thanks, Coco. So I think to wrap this session up, perhaps I would invite each of the panelists to give one word of advice or encouragement to our audience here today. What some words of encouragement for them in terms of to start off their different journey or advice, assuming that one day they become themselves a TFIP trainee in the program as well. Coco, maybe we start off with you.
Advice. Yeah, be open, ask questions. Don't worry about failing lah. It's normal, but yeah, it's part of life.
Thank you. Thanks, Coco. Chun-Seng, any word of advice or encouragement for our audience?
Yeah, I guess you have to go in with an open mind, and you got to manage your expectations because as I mentioned earlier, things won't be laid out nicely for you when you enter the organization. So for a start, you might be getting a lot of like administrative stuff and job. But I believe from my personal experience, right, no task is too mundane. I believe every assignment handed to me is a learning opportunity for me. So you just have to enjoy what you do in the organization. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Chun-Seng. So, Bunket, any word of advice for our audience today?
I would say do your best in understanding the task that you're working on, then put in the effort to be independent in solving the problem that you have, and also ask colleagues for help if needed. Then when you have extra time on hand, like extra bandwidth, try to be proactive and find work to do or processes that can be improved. Yeah.
Great. I think last but not least, Connie, any words of advice or encouragement for our aspiring applicants today?
I would say that I'll echo everyone's thoughts here. I would say that when you are on the task, just try to really understand what its objective is, and then don't do more, but just stick to what the scope is. And then if there's something to be expanded upon, that can be for later. Like just take it one step at a time. And for older candidates, don't think that you're older than everyone else. I mean, you're the only one thinking about that. Like no one else is bothered. Seriously.
Great. Thank you so much, Connie. Thank you so much, Ko, Bungkit, and Chun Sing for being part of this panel today, for the very insightful sharing and the words of encouragement that you have given to our audiences. So this will be the last question that I have for the panel itself. Maybe back to you, Nicole.
Very much. Vincent, Chun Sing, Ko, Connie, Bungkit. May we now invite Yen Wei to do the closing?
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for staying through with us this session. And I hope you found the sharing and the discussions very useful in helping you to decide or make that decision whether or not to pivot into a financial sector role in technology. Now, I also wanted to use this opportunity to share with you this other program before we end. This other program that we launched together with TFIP this year. I think there are also some questions on this program within the Q&A function, so I thought I would share this. This is the Wealth Management Accelerator Program. So unlike the TFIP program, which is to help help mid-career individuals pivot into a tech role in finance, this program actually prepares you for a retail banking relationship management role, which is an entry point for you to go into wealth management or even other possible roles within the financial sector. So it's actually a good program that you can also consider should you be undecided whether you are inclined for tech or a non-tech role. So the question, I think we saw a few questions in the chat box. I think you're asking whether can you apply for both? Yes, you can. So you can apply for both the VMAT as well as TFIP, and you'll be screened separately based on your qualities and your eligibility criteria. Okay, so this program is similar to TFIP. It's a career conversion program, and it helps to build a pipeline, industry pipeline of retail banking relationship managers within the financial industry. So it's an opportunity for participants to attend industry-curated structured training, followed by on-the-job training at the hiring financial institution. So it's in terms of structure, it's very similar to TFIP. The only difference is that for this program, you will be hired by the company at the onset. You'll be hired by the financial institutions at the onset. So you are not considered a trainee during this training period. And the training period is a lot shorter. It's only 3 months. And within these 3 months, we will cover both structured training. You'll be sent for training at one of our external appointed training providers, WMI. Thereafter, you will also be put through the regulatory exams that's required for this role. So this role requires some licensing examinations, SIMPAS examinations, and you will be put through those examinations. And after you have passed these exams, or even as you are going through the on-the-job training, you have the opportunity to go for these examinations, and you just have to make sure that you pass within the 3-month period, right? So after the structured training and the examinations, you will be deployed to the financial institutions for on-the-job training. So all these will happen within the 3-month program. Okay, and we are very happy that for this program, we've got the support of 7 major consumer banks in Singapore. So we have Citibank, DBS, HSBC, Maybank, OCBC, Standard Chartered, and UOB participating as hiring companies for this program. Okay, so to find out more about this program, please feel free to visit our website, IBF's website. I think in the next slide, you'll see some, you'll see a few QR codes. Scan the QR codes, find out more, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email. And for TFIP, both TFIP and VMAT, our closing date is 18th of June. So I encourage all of you, if you're interested, to apply early. Okay, and don't wait till the last minute, just in case your applications, you face some technical problems and your applications doesn't come through. So apply early, and there are a lot of training places available this year under TFIP, a lot more than last year. So don't worry if you think that there's too many applicants vying for the same positions. Just try, and who knows, right? You will have that opportunity. So thanks again for joining us today. I hope you found the session useful. Okay, and thank you very much. Please share these programs with your friends who may be interested to consider pivoting into financial sector. All right, thank you very much. Thanks.
All right, and that's all for today's session. We thank all the panelists and speakers for taking the time to join us, and we thank you for joining us to find out more about our program. Once again, if you'd like to apply for TFIP or WeMap, find out more about our career support and resources, you may click one of the QR codes that are being flashed here. Thank you and have a pleasant day.